What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau. Today, my guest is wrestler, arguably one of the best indie wrestlers around right now, Gabriel Fuerza.
It's me.
Welcome, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad we can finally do it. I feel like there was like a lot of posts, like my nerd posts, that you always liked, and I know we don't, really. I think I met you like once before I was reffing, and you were in gimmick mode.
Yeah.
But you liked all my all my nerd posts, so I was like, I'm gonna ask him, see if he's up for it. So thank you for being here, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Wrestling. Why wrestling?
Oh, why wrestling? Indeed.
Why wrestling?
Why else? I don't know. Honestly.
Was there a moment in your life where you knew that this is what you wanted to do? Before you actually were doing it? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say it's that romantic.
Okay.
I kind of went through my whole life feeling very not passionate about anything. Like, my parents almost were concerned that I wasn't passionate about anything. No subject in school, no I didn't like sports, I didn't like, any potential jobs or anything like that. The only thing that I kind of gravitated towards was wrestling. And pretty much as soon as I discovered wrestling, I was outside wrestling. And just, from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, just literally play fighting with my friends on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know, I think I like the athletic component. I like the creativity, the showmanship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was ever a moment where I was like, this is what I'm going to do, because I find I don't think that way. I just kind of do and then decide later on.
Ride the wave.
Yeah, I ride the wave.
I feel that.
So no moment of like, I need to do this, but there was a moment of like, I'd like to do this. Watching Rey Mysterio, like so many others. Just fell in love that way, and I don't know, just like a bug got in me, and it never fully burrowed its way out.
How long have you been wrestling?
11 years now.
How old are you?
31.
31?
Yeah.
All right. So you started when you were 20. That's nice, man.
Yeah.
You found it at a young age, so that's good.
Yeah.
Training at Battle Arts?
I am training at Battle Arts. Yeah.
How did that come to be?
So I was at HWE, because even before I started training there, I liked to train as much as I could. So I was at HWE, and Clay Wilson had come up to me, and he was like, "Hey man, you think you could come by on a Monday? We could use a little bit of help there." Basically, I didn't have a Monday teacher, so Clay was essentially filling in, and he didn't really feel like he was there yet to the point where he should be teaching. Nor do I, by the way. I should say that. I think it's super weird that I'm teaching, and the only reason I feel okay about it is because I have Shane Saber, Mark Wheeler, and Alexi Nicole and John Greed to help me out. Whatever I don't catch, hopefully they can catch.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I don't know, hopefully they know. I just showed up to help out, and then 1 week became the second week, the third week, the fourth week. Suddenly I'm getting paid. Mm-hmm. Suddenly it's like, just take the class. Suddenly I'm doing Wednesdays as well, and then it all kind of snowballed.
You're enjoying it?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah?
I think I like it more than wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
What's your favorite part about being a mentor?
Oh man, when students do a skill that they thought they could never do, like seeing their face light up it's nice. I like to do these headstand drills, where basically you do a couple rolls and they do a headstand in the corner. Mm-hmm. Most people don't get it the first try. Most people just and they're frustrated, and it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but when they finally get it, man, like the class erupts. Yeah. They're literally upside down going like, fuck yeah. And it's just such a good feeling.
I always really liked the camaraderie when I was doing the little bit of training at Battle Arts. Mm-hmm. That's something, everyone getting excited when someone finally accomplishes something. That's something that I think is rare, and is just one of the many reasons why pro wrestling is one of the best things in the world, I think. You know?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, seeing or showing people that they can do things that are outside of their comprehension when they first started. Mm-hmm. It's nice. And it makes me feel good because it means I'm at least a half decent coach. But I don't know. I find it hard to hype myself up about accomplishments. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like compliments. I don't really love to celebrate my victories, but it's really easy to celebrate somebody else's. So, and because I'm helping them, it by proxy kind of feels like my victory.
Okay.
So it's a little bit easier to swallow that way.
I got you. I feel like myself, like, I'm kind of similar. And there's a lot of times where I guess I have like a vision or like a destination or a goal in my mind that I haven't reached yet. And because I'm chasing that goal, like off in the distance, like multiple steps in front of that, it's, I find I don't really pay attention a lot to, like, sometimes it takes somebody to like actually verbalize to me, like, no, you've done this and you've done this, and like it's only been this long, and like just kind of but yeah, man, I started reffing maybe like a year and a half ago. Like I fractured my back when I was 16 years old, and I think I would in my heart love to maybe do a match at some point. I'm not really like a big dude. Maybe just like take like a huge bump through a table and just, I don't know. And like something would be cool. But I also feel weird about like refs getting too involved in that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Sure,
but I don't know. The fun part about indie wrestling is like it's almost like community theater. Like
definitely.
You can get away with a little bit more, and not so much go into like harming the business territory.
Do you have any advice for me as a ref? Like what kind of things do you look for in a good ref?
Invisible.
Okay.
Yeah, especially on camera, invisible. If I can forget you're there until the moment that I need you, that's a really good ref. Brad, he's like a ghost.
Yeah.
You don't even notice him until all of a sudden he's whispering in your ear how great you're doing. Harry D, same thing.
Yeah.
They're really good at keeping you on track. Sometimes it's hard to kind of both do the match and pay attention to the crowd. Harry especially is really good at kind of grounding you and letting you know like either you're doing really well or not so good. Pick it up.
Yeah.
I find that to be really helpful.
Harry just a super knowledgeable guy all around. Like in real, maybe not even just the business, but I feel like I really only talk to him about this stuff, you know?
Yeah. No, he's a great guy though.
Yeah. He was like, I did a seminar with him and, who was it? Harry, oh my God. Anyways, he was one of the guys who like was at my first seminar, and like Mikey Truth Ashman, Mike Ashman, like we used to work together. Like he was like a server and I was like one of the chefs. And so that's how I met him. And then he just kind of let me know about this seminar happening at Battle Arts, because I knew he was training, and he was actually like I think the second episode of this podcast. So shout out to Mikey for getting me into this, man. I really like it. It's so hard to, but I'm having like a new challenge in life since my daughter was born with like balancing all this stuff, and I've had to like reevaluate like a lot of priorities like in the second half of this year. And also that brings me back to like I've never really been like a mentor like you are right now, but I get the kind of the satisfaction and like the pride that you get from just helping someone just achieve something for the first time.
I'm
like,
sure there's a lot of parallels. Like being a parent is much harder, but I'm sure seeing your kid do anything for the first time is like, wow, like I fucking made that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. But what do you do outside of the wrestling world, man? You were talking about video games, I think, before we started.
In terms of hobbies, video games for sure. I go through phases of video games. Like, sometimes it's just so hard to pick up a game and get immersed. And sometimes you find just the right game and you're like, I could just zone out for a couple hours and just totally ignore the world.
Do you have like a genre or like a kind of game that you prefer?
Probably. I don't really pay attention. Probably like an RPG.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, my favorite game is The Witcher.
All right.
3. It's just, I don't know, the lore I really like, the world building I really like, the the gameplay as well, obviously, but just the vibe more than anything.
Are you online guy or just like story mode?
I haven't played like true online in years.
I know.
I used to do Halo 3 back in the day, and just I was one of those kids that was like, fuck you, fuck your mother. I will, piss on your grave.
Honest to God, dude, like the end of me playing, well, and I say this, but there's like the odd game that I'll play, like Grand Theft Auto when that was like really big back then, and like some of the, like I was playing AEW there earlier on in the year, late last year with my buddy, but there's not a lot of games I play online, and like the point that I stopped really being interested in is just because like I don't play a lot. And I feel like if you don't play a lot, it's just, it's hard. Yeah, man, and it's not fun, And in Halo, they introduced that sword. As soon as they introduced that sword, I was done for it. I was like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I think I'm a story guy.
I think the biggest problem with like major online gaming is people no longer want to have fun and win. They want to just win. If they can cheese it, they'll cheese it. Like, if they're not even having fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as long as they're winning, then it's good enough for them. I would rather have fun and lose.
Yeah.
Than, I just want to play the game.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. And honestly, like I'm also like into just not a lot of super popular games. I feel like I like old school. Like I still buy like every Sonic game. And I don't know, like the Batman games have been really great, the last bunch of them.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, I think the quality of games, just they're producing too much. Can be said about like a lot of things in general,
Totally.
Movies, I feel like they were comparing The Flash. Have you seen The Flash?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not important, at this point, but I saw it and I was like, the big downer about the whole movie is just how like bad the effects look, and they were comparing that to like Pirates of the Caribbean, which was done a significant, amount of time ago, and like just how good it was back then and how bad it is, and it's like, it's directly connected to just the amount of product that they're pumping out. Yeah. As much as I like the superhero movies, like
I think it also has to do with like greed, right? Like they don't want to give these guys the time or the pay to, properly get the stuff done. Whereas, take a movie like Lord of the Rings, which I fucking love, by the way. 3 years of pre-production. Like, it's fucking unheard of. Like, no movie studio would ever do that nowadays. Let alone practical effects, right? Like, I watched it the other day, as I do many days of my life.
Yeah.
It's ageless. Like, it's crazy. Actually, I watched it on the plane ride to my first UK trip with Johnny DeLuca, and he had never seen it. And I was like, "What? You gotta watch it." So we're watching Fellowship, and it occurs to me like halfway through, I'm like, "Johnny, how old are you?" And he's like, 20. I'm like, "Well, no. What year were you born?" And he's like, 2003 or some shit. And I was like, "Fuck. This movie's older than you."
For real? When did it come out?
Like 2002.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's wild to think of.
It's older than him. And that blew my mind and made me a little depressed on its own. But I'm like, man, this movie could have come out last year. Like, it's pristine.
Yeah.
With like, there's a couple little slightly janky shots of CG, but like because it's almost all practical, it's so good to this day. And like, you look at something like The Flash, and you're like, man, like what the fuck is going on? Like, it looks like, PS2 graphics sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough. Like, and I feel like practical effects still to this day look better. Like did you see the new Beetlejuice?
I did.
Like that looked great, dude. I love William Dafoe's like brain and like all that shit. Like I thought it looked great.
Yeah.
I think they need to revisit some stuff. I'd love to see them do like, uh, I don't know. I think they're on a new direction, but like, as far as I'm concerned, like the best Ninja Turtles were the first two '90s movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then they kind of rebooted it, and like first one was alright, but like I'm just not a fan of that kind of thing. I'd like to see them bring back like practical effects, live action Ninja Turtles. Could do it so much better now.
Yeah.
Do you have any like pre-match rituals that you do on a regular basis?
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically, yes. It's nothing crazy. Whenever I tape on my wrists, I write. I had a cousin that passed away when she was 18.
Okay.
Years and years ago now, but I always write her name here, and I write Diablo here. I don't really know why I write Diablo here. I just feels like the yin and yang. I'm not religious, but I'll do like a little prayer for her, and just less of like a watch over me and more of like a hey, how's it going? About to go out. Hope you're watching. That's pretty much it. Like, you know, stretching and all that, whatever. But sometimes the stretching, you know, you get there a little too late and you start playing the match a little too late, and next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, I don't have time to stretch. So, without fail, I'll do that. And if I have time, I'll warm up properly so I don't hurt myself. But that's about it. Nothing too crazy.
Were you raised in like a religious family?
Oh man, it's funny because when I was born, my parents were still Catholic. By the time we moved here, they had converted to Christianity, which is, you know, apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But by the time I had grown up, by the time I was like 13, my mom had become very anti-religious. She'd always been like a very Rage Against the Machine type person.
All right. Yeah.
Hippie protester. And I don't know, she just kind of like realized like it's bullshit. Like to her, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
If people believe in whatever they want to believe, that's, you know, their prerogative or whatever. But
yeah, I'm not hating on anybody. Like whatever gets you there, totally. And all the power to you.
Totally. I think I had asked her a question once. I remember we were at church, and the pastor was giving a sermon on the concept of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And I turned to her and I was like, I have a question. Let's say I live a really good life and I go to heaven, but you live a really bad life and you go to hell.
Mm.
My heaven wouldn't be complete without you in it. So how does that work? Would you just by proxy go to heaven, or would there be a fake you in heaven? Because both don't seem right. Like, I don't want to fake you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her like looking at me like I had broken her brain a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, that's like, how do you answer that as a parent? Yeah. That's wild.
And I don't think that I was the one who sort of like changed her mind on religion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in addition to other questions that she had, and you know, life had been tough on her, so that doesn't help much either. She just became less and less religious until it got to the point where she was almost borderline anti-religious.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was always very kind of same as me, like go with the flow. So he was never super religious. And now I would go so far as to say that like there's no religion at all in my family. Like it's just not really a thing. We're all kind of, well, my mom and I are kind of fascinated by it. Like my mom's read the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting. But I like to view it personally more as like a mythology kind of thing. I find in that lens it's really, really interesting, and you can learn a lot of good shit. Like
for sure.
I think if you were to like, if you absolutely had to classify me, I would say that I'm a follower of like Christ, but I don't believe in a God. I don't think a just God would demand me to bow down to him to go to heaven.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, you know, and then we'll find out, right? But in my head, a just God would not care to be worshipped. He just cares that you're a good person, you're doing the right things.
Right.
So I just try to live my life that way.
Yeah.
And try not to worry about all the...
In a way that makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
I relate to a lot of that, dude. I was baptized Catholic, you know. I I had like a weird family upbringing. So like I was raised in foster homes. I lived with my nana for a little bit. It was a weird thing, but like my nana was very religious. Like we went to church often, Sunday mass on like or midnight mass on Christmas. Like it was a thing. And then once I got to like high school, I also had like kind of like a period where I was just really interested in it. I want to learn. Like I had gone from being super religious to being like, none of that's real, to being like, well, maybe it's real. I'm curious. And like, it was all kind of started by meeting like some like cool Mormons, like legit, dude. Like I met like a couple of dudes. They were they were down in Brampton. So Brampton has like a big Mormon headquarters.
Oh.
Yeah, at like Bramley and Beauvert.
Okay.
Like it's there's a huge temple. A lot of stuff doesn't really happen in the temple, but yeah, so I met them and I went there, and then I went to just a few different churches with just like other friends, Sunday school as well, like asking questions and like having people tell me, if you want to go here, you can't listen to Linkin Park, and like just like weird shit like that. And I was just asking a lot of questions, very curious, but I don't know. It's so hard, man. Like I don't think I believe in a God. I'm very like grounded in science, you know?
Sure.
But like now with my daughter, like it's such a weird, like I want to believe in something else. Like I want there to be heaven. And like, there's a lot of times where like I still like do things that, like I'll talk to my nana, like I'll, look up and like talk to my nana and like just do certain things where my lady's like, why do you do that? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It comforts me, you know?
And it's the same reason I talk to my cousin, right? Like maybe she can't hear, maybe she can, but it feels good.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Do you want to get into our top 5 maybe?
Sure. Oh god.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with lists, but I did write some things.
Yeah, I know, and we changed it a little bit. I think. Well, I changed it, just because you're gonna be the last episode of this for the year. So, first of all, are you like into superheroes?
I am.
Yeah. Do you like? How deep are you?
I used to be much deeper as a child. I've fallen out just because life gets so busy and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think like everybody else, once Endgame happened, everyone kind of just fizzled out just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to stay in, but the MCU product has been kind of like hit or miss. So I'll catch.
I'm a DC fan, bro. I'm just. Yeah,
like the Batman movie was sick. The Batman movie was sick.
I do love Marvel though, and I agree with everything that you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to be more into it as a kid. Like I still collect a lot of the Marvel Legends, and actually the DC figures are so nice. And I seemingly they have like every character to have ever existed. So I have like 6 Supermans. Nice. Spoiler, I really like Supermans.
All right.
I've got like a shit ton of Batman as well. Mostly Marvel guys, just because they were more readily available first. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm a fucking dork. Like I like dorky shit. The nerdier the better.
Do you play like Magic and stuff like that?
Oh, I tried.
Yeah, I tried too, man. I wanted to like it. Some of my good friends are like really into that.
Yeah, no, I did. Yu-Gi-Oh. I did Yu-Gi-Oh for a couple years, like pretty intensely. I still have my decks. I don't know if they're like at all viable anymore. I don't think so. I think the game's changed too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, I did like Pokemon, even Digimon cards actually. But Magic was a little too complex for my young brain.
I can go first with superheroes. I pretty much do this like every episode just to kind of bring people in. I'm glad you like superheroes. I've had to like broaden it to be like, oh, you can, like I've had people say like their sister or like a musician or something.
Like they're here to them.
Right. Right. So, but mine are all traditional. I'd probably say like my nana if I was saying a real person, but number 1, Batman.
Yeah, I like Batman a lot. Actually, I get into arguments with my girlfriend sometimes. because she doesn't get Batman.
She doesn't get him.
She's like, well, you know, like, he's a guy in a suit. And I'm like, no, he's not just a guy in a suit. There's more to him. He's like...
For sure
he's a super fucking genius, and he's fucking jacked, and he knows like 37,000 martial arts.
Yeah.
And he speaks so many languages. He's a fucking detective. That's my favorite part about the new Batman movie. They finally made him a fucking detective.
Is this... Would you say Pattinson's your favorite Batman?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think the vibe of the movie is like sexy.
Right.
It's so sexy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that kind of like messes with my view of him, because like he's a great aesthetic Batman. Do I think he's the best Batman? Probably not yet, but he could be.
He could be. They started off at a good point, and I think if they make like a trilogy, and we look back on it, it will make maybe more sense.
Yeah. I like Keaton. I don't know if Keaton is, you know, the most comic accurate Batman, but I like him. I don't like Christian Bale. It's not totally his fault. I think the writing is just not detective-y enough. I don't think he seemed like a very smart guy. I'd have loved him to be just a little bit more detective-y. But I think he's a great Bruce Wayne. I think that's the same thing as like most of the Spider-Man guys, right? They're either a good Spider-Man or a good Peter Parker. It's so hard to get that best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman's fucking sick.
Then I'm going Ninja Turtles. A little bit of a cheat there because I gotta put them all in one. I'm kind of...
If you have to pick one though, Raphael?
Raphael, that's my dude.
Everybody's.
Yeah. And I feel like this last... Did you know do you know the last Ronin? Do you know about it?
Yes, vaguely.
Okay, yeah.
I know that it's one turtle that gets all the weapons, and it's not the turtle.
Yeah, do you know who it is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and like they started doing like these new turtles, and like I don't know how I feel about it. Like I still read comics and do that stuff, but like I'm just not.
Did you see the new animated one?
You know what? I haven't, bro.
It's pretty fucking cute.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe cute isn't the word you want to hear.
No, but Seth Rogen did, and I feel like I've seen a lot of the people who are in it and involved with it, and I'm like, there's no way this could be bad, bro.
It's pretty good.
I'm really behind in like things. Like I
mean, you have a kid.
Yeah, you know, and like. But it's on my list to watch. Like,
nice. Yeah, it's a good one. And you know what? I don't know how old your daughter is, but it's good
like
for, it's
1.5.
kids.
Yeah,
you know, it's got colors and moving lights.
I actually tried like to show her the 90s one, but she wasn't really interested. She really likes Home Alone though, and that's like my favorite movie of all time. So like I'm happy about that. But she just calls it Kevin, and she does like she does all that shit. Fucking adorable, man. And then I'm going Red Hood.
Okay.
Arguably, you could say maybe not a hero. There's this run that he did. So my number 4 is Arsenal. And like one of like I think the most underrated runs of comics is Red Hood Arsenal, dude. And they just become like they're like these kind of like they just become like jokers, and they're like heroes for hire, and like it's just fun, you know? So yeah, Arsenal's my number 4, and then Spider-Man. I say my number 5.
I love Spider-Man.
He's like one of the first, like him and like the Ninja Turtles were probably like the first. Like I didn't even see Batman first. I think my first introduction was like Adam West, and I was like, it's all right,
yeah,
you know, but it's not. And then eventually my love once the Keaton movie came out.
Nice. My turn.
Yes.
All right, let's see what I got here. Typically, my undisputed is it's a bit of a left turn. Most people don't expect this from me. Superman. I just fucking love somebody who's fucking good. Like, that's all he is. I hate that every new movie that comes out, they're just like, how can we make him edgy? How can we make it Superman, but he kills people? Like, Man of Steel had me, and then he snapped.
Right at the end,
And I was like, I literally,
damn it.
Literally, I was in the theater like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding? Fuck Zack Snyder, man. Like,
who wrote this?
I don't know. I don't think Zack Snyder gets a lot. I think he is visually and aesthetically, his movies are very nice. 300, I love 300 because it's like a stupid, idiotic little story. You can't fuck that up. You know, Watchmen. He took it from comic book almost too directly to movie.
I really like Watchmen.
I like Watchmen, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to fuck that up when all you do is take the comic, put it on a screen.
Yeah.
And he made it like very visually nice. Like it's all very nice. I like pretty much everything about it. In fact, I even like that he took out the squid. It would have been too much for the movie, I think. But man, just every like DC movie that he touches, not for me. The only one I haven't tried is the fucking 5 hours Snyder cut of Justice League. People tell me it's great. So I'm gonna have to get to it.
I like it.
Anyway, yeah, Superman.
It's like it's like you gotta make a day of it.
Yeah,
you know, like
is it 5 hours or 4?
It's like 4 and a bit. I feel like it's close to like 4.5. So
okay. I mean,
it's it's.
I do Lord of the Rings
long.
all the time,
yeah.
so like maybe I can get through it. It's just Lord of the Rings doesn't feel like a movie; it feels like a experience.
When you watch them now, do you? Because I'm guessing that's your trilogy.
Yeah.
So like, will you watch them in order? If you watch the first one, maybe say you watched the first one like a week ago, and you're gonna go watch it. You're gonna watch the second one, or
no, not necessarily. Sometimes, whatever's I'm in the mood for. Okay. You know, like I find. The best one to watch and like to not really have to like think about it too hard is Two Towers, because Fellowship and Return of the King, to me, both A+ movies. But Fellowship has a lot of shit to establish, and Return of the King has a lot of shit to like finish. Two Towers is just balls to the wall, story, action. Like there's nothing to set up. There's nothing to, close the chapter on. It's just unfiltered movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to try it. We got some holidays coming up, so maybe I'll take a day. But yeah, Superman is definitely number 1. Number 2, probably Spider-Man. Depending on the day of the week.
Yeah.
Maybe Spider-Man beats him. Same sort of idea, but I really like that Spider-Man, you grow up with him, right? Like, from the very first comic books, he's in high school, and while reading the comics, like, he's actively growing up and facing new challenges that in some way relate to people's lives, and I like that his life is just shit. Like, balls to the wall, it fucking sucks. Like, the only problem I had with the most recent Spider-Man movies was that his life was too good. Like, I know his uncle died, but, like, he didn't really seem bothered about it. And, like, Iron Man was, like, his new uncle, which, like, is totally interesting and, like, whatever.
But okay, you say it first.
I want like some misery, man. Like I don't want him to have this fancy costume. I want him to have this costume that he handmade himself.
Yeah.
And he's fighting guys in the street, and maybe in due time he goes to space, but not right now. Right now, I just want him to suffer. You know what I mean? Like he can't pay his rent. His fucking boss hates him.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like
for real,
getting his fucking ass kicked.
Man, I prefer the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, even when I read comics, dude, I find like the singular character stories way more interesting than like. There's not a lot of Justice League or Avengers that I have. Like, I don't really get a lot. Like, there's some Guardians I have, but like it generally just like their story, and he's like one of the best, and he has like some of the best villains.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really hoping after this trilogy, which, to be fair, when I realized that the whole trilogy was his origin story, I was like, okay, you kind of got me. Like, that's kind of clever. But I was hoping that it would lead to just, street level crime. Like a movie of just street level crime, maybe one big bad, whatever, right? But now I'm hearing that, like, they want to make it even bigger. Like, they want to add Venom, and they want to take him to this, and
Toby and friggin' Garfield are gonna be in the next one apparently.
Yeah,
it's like,
I just want something like low key. I feel like
you guys did that already. You guys already did that.
Yeah, I feel like Spider-Man is just such a fucking relatable character, especially for young people. And they're really kind of missing the boat. When he's like an adult, I feel like they have a little more liberty to go and do a little more out there stories. But when he's like in the midst of like high school, college, and like just feeling those fucking growing pains, like life is so hard at that time. Let alone being a fucking superhero. I think there's just so much juice to squeeze there.
Yeah,
and I don't really know.
Agree.
I don't really know what. I don't know if they know exactly what they have. They're just like, oh, superheroes, like explosions, bombastic stuff. Like, that's what kids like, right?
Well, they've pretty much flopped. I mean, I like the Venom stuff, but like all the other movies that are kind of like attached to Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. when I heard they were making a Craven movie, I was like, okay, like maybe this could be interesting. And then like I saw the trailer and they were like making him a good guy and like, bro, like just let the villains be villains. Like I want to see him fucking beat the shit out of Spider-Man and bury him. That's what I want.
Yeah, you did a whole Venom trilogy.
Yeah.
And we didn't see him interact with Spider-Man at
crazy.
all.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Okay, but anyway, too off track here. Okay, next I've got Wolverine. I don't know. You know, what's there not to
He's
like?
badass, man.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
I like seeing him fight, like, the Hulk. You know, like when the Hulk fucking tears him in half.
Yeah.
That's that shit I do like, you know? Like, I want to see just the goriest shit. And, like, there was a Wolverine video game. You remember X-Men Origins Wolverine, the movie?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so that movie sucked.
Yeah.
There was a video game that came out. I don't know if you played it. That game was rated
never
R,
did.
and it was so freaking good. It starts off with him diving out of a helicopter, like, straight out of a helicopter, and just, like, dive bombing a single guy. Explodes in blood. And then he kind of stands up, and, like, he's all mangled, and you see it, like, slowly start healing. The whole game is just like that. Like, it's literally just, like, let's see how gory we can make Wolverine and see how quickly he can heal. That's what I like. I'm not super interested in Wolverine's like backstory and the whole tragedy and all that. It's a little interesting, I'll give you that. But like with Wolverine, I just like the blood and guts. Like I like how tough he is. I like that he's like 5'3". I wish they would just like hire a 5'3" actor and just you know get him all roided up, just like a fucking cannonball of a man. I'd love to see it. I know they did that in Deadpool Wolverine as like a little throwaway gag, but like.
What'd you think of that?
I mean, he looked hilarious. Like, I wish he didn't look so hilarious because I can immediately see why they don't want to do it. But like, come on, just one for the little guys would be nice. You know, like Henry Cavill, he's already done Superman.
Yeah.
You know, like he can't have Wolverine too.
No, it's not fair.
But yeah, Wolverine's cool. I used to like Deadpool a lot more than him. I think I've gotten Deadpool kind of fatigue.
Yeah.
Maybe. I used to be more like Deadpool in the sense that like I'd constantly be talking and like making fun of things and cracking jokes and whatever. So I thought that was funny. In my, later years, now that I'm a 31-year-old man, I respect Wolverine's quietness.
Yeah.
And like how, if he says one thing, it's like one loaded thing, But yeah, Wolverine's sick. Batman would be next. I don't know how in order this is. But,
it's alright.
But Batman, I mean, he's fucking Batman. Like, there's a reason that there's a quote, like, I'm Batman.
Yeah, dude. My daughter, like, legit, like, she has, I don't know if they're out right now. She has a Joker and a Batman doll. And, like, she knows who they are, and every time she'll, like, play with Joker, she'll be like, and she'll do the laugh. Adorable. And I'll be like, what does Batman say? And she'll be like, I'm Batman.
Oh,
like, she does that. But, like, obviously not in the deep voice,
Sure,
but,
sure.
like, yeah.
Yeah, Batman's sick. And again, like, just probably the best rogues gallery. Like, it's probably Spider-Man.
I'd say him and Spider-Man, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Last one is the Power Rangers. I feel like
Dig it.
people don't usually think of them as superheroes, but that's what they
I
are.
dig it. I love them back in the day, man.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I still love them.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the recent stuff just because I don't really like the.
There's some good comics they have. They did a Justice League, like Power Rangers, like crossover.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit was good.
I didn't read it, but I was kind of keeping up with the whole like Lord Draken stuff and that whole thing. That seemed cool as hell. I personally don't read too much comic books just because I don't even know where to start anymore. Like,
It's
I'm
hard.
so far
Everything's
behind.
connected to I know what you mean.
But yeah, no, like to this day, I still watch Power Rangers. Like, I made my girlfriend watch an entire season of Power Rangers. What I thought was the best season. I was like, okay, if you like this one, then maybe we can try another one because I know like they're dated and they're for kids, right? Like, they're not that great. But Time Force, I think, is like the closest to like an adult audience, and it's pretty good. I mean, she liked it, so. Yeah, Power Rangers.
I dig that, man. I dig that. I like your list.
Thank you.
Do you want to move on to wrestlers?
Sure, that's probably. I say it's easy, but I'm not good with lists.
Would you say like how close are? Because like if I went all time, because I've done like AEW and like current WWE guys and like. would you say your current favorites list is like close to your all-time favorites list? Because I feel like I only have like
no,
one.
probably not. Probably not. Like Ray would be the only one that's selective.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, Ray's definitely number one. Sometimes Eddie contends him for that spot, but when you take a step back and look at like not only how good Ray is, but the longevity of his career, the influence he's had on I mean, God knows how many wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
It's just I think he's honestly untouchable. Like, you know, when people say like who's the greatest wrestler of all time, like some people think it's a stretch, but Ray I think really does have like a claim to that.
Yeah.
He may not be, you know, the most amazing talker in the world, but people believe in him. Like, he doesn't have to say much for people to get behind him, right? Like, I think whereas somebody like Ric Flair, who is very convincing in what he says, you don't necessarily have to be behind him before the promo. He can get you on board during the promo. But with Ray, most people are already on board. Like, it doesn't matter what he says.
There was that short run in WCW without the mask.
Yeah.
That was my least favorite.
Yeah,
it was so unnecessary.
I think it was everybody's.
You know?
Yeah.
But just a great in-ring performance for sure, dude.
Yeah. Shall I continue? You want to do yours?
No, you can go.
Okay, well, I already touched on Eddie.
Yeah.
I think Eddie is like probably the most influential wrestler in terms of like modern indie. I think he's one of the guys who really popularized like the Ring of Honor style. Just like the fusion of sort of Japanese, Mexican, American, European wrestling, and just like fucking workhorse. I really, really like, now that I'm a wrestler, watching back his matches because I know he didn't like to call. So seeing if I can kind of catch where he's calling and kind of look at a spot and be like, oh, they probably worked on that at some point, or no, he just called it right then and there. Especially his little brief indie run that he did when he got fired. There's a lot of really good matches on there, and you can tell they're like all on the fly, like 100% on the fly. So I really like to watch those and kind of like envision myself. What could I keep up in that moment? But yeah, like just one of the most beloved dudes of all time.
Complete package, you know?
Yeah, just like insanely charismatic. Practically the patron saint of wrestling at this point.
I think every wrestler I've had on here has mentioned him, dude.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like...
So, speaks for
he
himself.
might not be everybody's favorite, but he's in that top
He's
5.
got to be in the argument,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, what else we got here? I put Kurt Angle. I wasn't totally sure if I was totally on board with that one. It's just Kurt Angle's wrestling is like, like there's a certain list of wrestlers that I have that have like this kind of snap and intensity to everything they do. Angle, Benoit, Guerrero, Dean Malenko. It's just like
Dean Malenko's like off the top rope backbreakers.
Yeah, it's just like,
oh my god,
there's a certain level of like snappiness to everything they do. It's just, I don't know, it shoots dopamine straight into my brain. And like, again, now that I'm a wrestler, like his work rate is insane. There's a match he had with Ray, SummerSlam 02. It's my favorite opening match of all time. It's like 8 minutes, but it's a sprint. It's like a full fucking sprint. They don't stop moving for a second, and they don't stop working for a second. It's not like, oh, we're in the heat now, and I'm just gonna like catch my breath. No, it's like Ray is constantly trying to escape, and Angle's constantly trying to get him. And the next thing you know, boom, we're in the turnaround. Here's a fucking high spot. Like, it's just so good, so creative. And I feel like Angle can do that with just about anybody. Like the Shane McMahon match. Fucking chucks him through the glass.
The entrance, yeah.
Like, you know, Shane's no, he's no Kurt Angle, right? But like, he made him look like they were on the same level.
Yeah.
That's it, and like, to take a guy who's had a handful of matches and make him look like a fucking star. And sure, he was game. Shane was totally down to die, basically.
Yeah, like Shane is about like good moments. I mean, like he has some good moments, but like overall, like just not. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like him and Logan Paul are similar in the sense that they're both very athletic. They can do some really cool shit. But in terms of, you know, you put them in a ring and say, hey, okay, go 5 minutes. Don't talk. Just go 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But regardless, still very impressive in the shit that they're willing to try. But Kurt, I feel like he brings out the best in everybody. And that's not to even mention the stuff that he did in TNA, you know, when he was on
Oh, super aggressive. I really like that look though.
Yeah.
He has so many. Kurt Angle. I love the heel run when Austin was like with McMahon and they were doing a lot of that just like silly stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? Like I like wrestlers who are not afraid to make an ass of themselves.
Yeah.
Currently, actually, one of my favorite people to watch is Chelsea Green because she's just like down to have fun. You know what I mean? Like so many wrestlers, especially like, you know, the vets, are so afraid of looking silly, so afraid of looking weak or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think wrestling's meant to be fun. You know, I don't think
Absolutely.
anybody's really gonna take it that seriously if you do a little, you know, gag segment or whatever, right? So it's cool for Kurt, someone who is like a legitimate badass.
Yeah.
Who, you know, won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck, to let himself be silly and let himself be the butt of jokes so often. I think that's pretty cool of him. I have Tiger Mask as well.
Okay.
He's not one that I watch a ton of, but he's one that's always like in the conversation. Like, I find that he has such a way of making high flying look legit, in a way that like I don't even know if it can be replicated anymore. Like, I don't know if it's wrestlers being trained differently or the whole sport changing. I like modern wrestling and I like modern flippy wrestling to a degree, but there is that sort of level of choreographedness sometimes that comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the double backflip thing.
Yeah.
But I can see why people do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, how many times are we gonna do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiger Mask, he just has a way of making all his high flying stuff look like he's the one doing it to you. You're not helping him. You're not posting for him. You're not basing for him. He's just climbing up and fucking taking you. And mix that with the fact that he's like an awesome striker, and at the time super innovative, right? Like he invented the 619. People don't realize that he invented the Tiger Feint Kick. Ray just
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the Tiger Feint Kick is literally just an evasion that he would do, or a dive tease. So if somebody had like fallen out of the ring, he'd run at them, do the 619, and people would duck, and then either he'd dive on him or he'd do like a little pose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the origin of the 619 is I think it was Damien 666 that told Ray, "Hey, what if you kicked somebody in the face? Like that could work." And yeah, it worked. So very, very influential. Last guy I have is Amazing Red. I think he's the first guy to ever take my gaze away from Ray and put it on him. I remember discovering him like probably like 05, 04, 05, or maybe 05, 06. Just, you discover wrestling, you discover LimeWire, you start looking for things on LimeWire, all of a sudden, oh, TNA, what's TNA? Oh, I've never seen these wrestlers before. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, shit. Like, he's doing shit that I've never seen before. Ray has never even done this stuff. And, like, he was a kid. Like, I was a kid. He was a kid. So, there was... quickly related to him. And, he was Latino. I'm Latino. So, like, that doesn't hurt either. But, again, just one of the most influential dudes. Like, I think... like 90% of the moves that people do on the indies nowadays is something that he either invented himself or popularized. Even the Code Red, arguably, he invented, right? Because there were guys who were doing it in Japan, but he claims he was doing it, a year before in his backyard, and he's got video proof.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's very interesting, right? Like, how his brain worked and how he invented all these kind of cool new moves. And he's probably one of the only wrestlers that I still kind of watch and still steal from. Like, I'll still do the Red Star Press, and whenever I'm calling in the back, I'm like, Red Star Press. And, the guys who get it will be like, oh, sick. Like, a little pop for that. And the guys who don't will be like, what? What is that? Running shooter. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had to Google some finishers, like, for some matches.
Yeah,
I'm,
I'll
like,
bet.
not familiar with the names. But I know what they look like, I just don't know what they're called.
Yeah. You know what, though? The nerdiest thing I am with is wrestling. I remember joining wrestling school and thinking, like, oh yeah, like everybody's gonna know all the names, all the moves that I've ever, that have ever been done,
Mm.
and all the pay-per-view themes, and all of this and all that. And I got there and nobody knew it. Nobody knew anything. The only person who was on my level of nerdiness was Vertigo, and that's why we became such close friends so quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm trying to make this reference to somebody, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he would slide in and be like, well, actually,
Yeah.
like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And,
That's always nice, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. I tend to quote a lot of like weird movies, and it's always good when someone else like gets
sure.
that shit. Before I get into mine, would you say like, is there anyone that maybe you didn't like before you started watching wrestling, that once you started learning more, that you started liking them?
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, okay.
As a kid, I was like, who is this old man?
Mm-hmm.
I remember buying Day of Reckoning, and he was the first unbeatable character. Like, you literally had to like play the tutorial, and once you were done on the like indies or whatever, you'd get invited to Sunday Night Heat, and no matter what you did, you couldn't beat him. It turns out he's literally unbeatable. And I remember thinking like, this fucking old man, like why can't I beat him? And then I kind of started learning, oh, this is like a 16-time world champion. And this is, he's done this, and he wrestled for, an hour every night, and then fucking, did what he does, and just did it over and over again, and somehow didn't die. And
I heard, maybe you know if this is true or not, but I heard that he had a legitimate heart attack in his last match.
I don't know. I haven't even seen it.
Okay.
I had also heard something like that.
Yeah.
Like he had legitimately like passed away in the ring and like come back to life.
Yeah, it was rough. I wish he didn't do it. I really liked him back in the day. Like I tend to lean more towards heels and like.
Sure.
That's a great answer.
As I got into wrestling and sort of understand wrestling a lot more, watching his older stuff specifically, I was like, oh yeah, like this guy is the fucking GOAT. Like I can see why people think he's the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to do a match for an hour, like night after night, and again, probably not really call anything, just like go in there, figure it out, and like maybe he's doing a lot of the similar spots, but like what works, right? And like he knew how to work a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't really concerned with having this 5-star classic that we're all so concerned with nowadays.
Yeah.
He was a worker, and he was there to take their money, which is something I fucking appreciate.
All right. My number one, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stunning Steve. Yeah.
I was like, man, the Attitude Era, I would argue was like it doesn't matter, but like it's my favorite time of wrestling. Shortly after that, I feel like I fell off of wrestling for a little bit, man. I felt like there was a lot of just like, there wasn't, like, no one was really trying to do anything different. Everyone had, like, the Miz haircuts and, like, did, like, mostly, like, the same moves. And I was just kind of... It was shortly after WCW, was bought out. And I think now wrestling is, like, really good. And it's on, like, just a trajectory that could possibly surpass that eventually.
Yeah.
You know? And I think the competition is good. And I don't watch as much as I should, or that I want to, really. I just super busy, but Stone Cold, man. That's my number one. My number two, not someone necessarily looked at a lot in a positive light in the wrestling community, but played a big role in me getting into it. Ultimate Warrior.
Sure.
I had an aunt, and she was the reason, like, I started getting into wrestling, like, when I was watching, like, Power Rangers and Barney and shit, like, just, she was super into it, and she liked Hulk Hogan, and something happened, and I was just like, I like this guy, who, and they're, like, through that whole thing, I think that's, like, how my love really started, was, like, the Hogan and Warrior feud.
Yeah.
The Rock, my number 3, good on the mic, good in the ring. Yeah, I dig him, man. I'm never really disappointed when I see The Rock. Mick Foley, maybe he's like skipped over a lot in this. And I also really respect how, and don't get me wrong, dude, like, everybody that gets in the ring and performs like is putting their body on the line. Like
Sure,
I do get that.
Mix on a whole other level.
But like if you've ever met him, bro, like you can see it, bro.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it hurts for him just to walk.
Yeah.
You know, and he just did a lot of cool shit, and not just like the Hell in a Cell thing. I mean, like I really like just the mix of gimmicks and like the mind games, and he could be silly, the rock and sock thing. He could, he could do like the really twisted and demented fucking Mankind stuff. And like he like was like wrestling in high school. Like he really started like at a very young age and just guess kind of geared towards the hardcore stuff because that's what people wanted from him. And
I think honestly, he had a pretty big part in making Edge and Randy Orton, like in the eyes of the fans. I think once they had that hardcore match with him, like Randy had the one where at Backlash 04, I think, and then Edge had the Mania where they speared through the flaming door. Oh my God, Indy's flaming table.
Okay.
I know personally as a fan, for me, like as a kid, I saw those guys in a completely different light, like especially Edge, because at the time he was like, a bit of a bitch, and like he really wanted the world heavyweight title, and he was always pulling his hair out, and just nothing would ever go his way. And then he had that match with Mick Foley, and I remember the spear happens, and he pins him, and he's just like sitting there like shaking, and the blood's coming down his face, and I was like, fuck, like I guess I gotta take him seriously now.
Yeah.
And with Randy Orton, it was the same thing. It's just like this fucking like pretty boy that had seemingly been handed everything, third generation, but it, he had to either make it or what's the word, nut up or shut up, right? And he fucking nutted up. Like they both beat him, I think. Even so, if they lost, like it wouldn't even matter. Like it's just
I don't remember.
It's the performance that matters, right?
Yeah.
And like they both took some pretty gnarly shit, and at least in my eyes, they leveled up drastically from that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of go through that sort of like big violent match on their ascent to the world title, and for a while there, Mick Foley was that guy. He was the gatekeeper, like almost unofficially.
Yeah. Okay, so my 5 was hard because I was really thinking, and like, I don't know how you feel, but I could have put Undertaker, I could have put Bret Hart, there was a lot of, Jericho, like there's a lot of guys I could really fit in that spot. To
be fair, my list as well.
Yeah.
Like, you might ask me tomorrow and it might change.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
Ray and Eddie probably will consistently be 1 and 1, not even 1 and 2, 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I think, like depending on the day, man. Like there's so many good wrestlers out there.
MJF, dude.
Nice.
And this is why I just feel like no matter what he's doing, he's entertaining.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And like honestly, there was and you might even have like been at this event, but there was like a time just before AEW like sprouted into existence where like those guys like the SCU, like those guys, MJF, I think there was a couple other people that are a part of AEW now that they came to a Destiny show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
There was, oh man. Yeah, I can't remember who else was there actually, but MJF came out and I was just getting like a Jersey Shore kind of vibe, so I was like, all right, he's the heel, and he was very snobby and had this scarf, and he like, I was like front row, like just you come out the entrance, turn right, I'm like right at that post, front row on the bleachers, and I like just am in his face like this, and he smacked my hand and like I love this guy. I love that kind of shit. And like from that, I've been just like interested in him, and like I like all the stuff he does. Like that people are like, how could he say fuck them kids? And like just like he gives a little kid the finger, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like if I'm bringing my kid there, I know I'm gonna know who that guy is, and I'm gonna know what to expect. And if you don't want that for your whoever, like don't bring them. This is who the guy is. He fully commits.
Exactly.
And like the time that he did that whole like man, the devil thing was just so cool, and like he's just done some things in wrestling that I feel like haven't been done in a while. Made
Sure.
people just like really blurred the lines.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I kind of view him and Cody Rhodes in a similar light. They're two sides to the same coin. They both follow the wrestling book almost to a T. Like, it's almost like they both took the same university class on pro wrestling. Um, Cody obviously does it more for a babyface reason, but MJF does it more for a heel reason. But like they stick to the fucking book, they commit to what they're doing, and I mean like the results show, right? Like Cody's super over, MJF super over in a different way. But I think it really does come down to commitment more than anything, right? Like as long as you believe, people around you are gonna start to believe, right?
Do you want to get into matches of the year?
Sure, that one's tough because, like you, I don't watch wrestling as much as I should be.
Fair.
But
Fair. I really only watch like the pay-per-views now, and like sometimes like my boys will be like, "Yo, check out this match on Raw or Dynamite or whatever the hell it's on," you know?
Yeah. Okay, mine are a bit odd. I don't even know when some of these took place. If I'm being honest with you. I really had to dig into my brain and think like, what did I like this year? But I'll do my best here. So for number one, this is no particular order.
Okay.
This is just 5 matches that I really liked. Hechicero versus Zack Sabre Jr. That match was fucking sick. Anything Hechicero does, I'm down for it. Yeah, like, I mean, I personally think Zack Sabre Jr. is probably the best technical wrestler of all time. The things that he can do with his gangly ass body is so fucking impressive. It's like he was built to wrestle that way. Big fan. And Hechicero, like, I think people underestimate the Yahweh style of Lucha Libre. Like, everybody thinks, oh, you know, Lucha Libre, like, okay, he's gonna dive and he's gonna do some ranas and whatever. But true, like, traditional Lucha Libre is very technical wrestling. And I think they've, I don't want to say lost their way, but in the same way that, like, a lot of modern American wrestling has gone to, you know, GIF wrestling, you know, like they want to get that big spot for that highlight reel and whatever. I think a little bit of Lucha has sort of also gone into that direction where they're, like, a little less concerned with the match structure and the story and all that sort of stuff, and they go a little bit more like the flippy and the destroyers and the no selling and the, you know, time and place, totally. But Hechicero, I think, really, really encapsulates that sort of classic Yahweh style. He can do the high flying, and he'll do the high flying, and, you know, he's stocky as shit, so he'll fucking toss you around if he can as well. But, like, I think where his bread and butter is that technical style, and to kind of see how that interacts with Zack Sabre Jr.'s British technical style is really interesting. Just two of my favorite type of wrestlers in a match.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for? Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, that was a good one, dude.
Bro.
That was a good one. I was like considering that, but it didn't make my list.
I was watching that match and just like, I don't know, like every so often I watch a Josh Alexander match on Impact or TNA now. And I kind of gotta remind myself, like, hey, bro, like, you know this guy. Like, you should text him and, like, ask him about the match. So, I remember a couple... I don't remember if he had this match this year or if it was last year, but the hour-long match he had with Mike Bailey. I sat down, I watched it, and I was just, like, taking notes. Some notes for me, some notes, questions for him. And, I don't know, it just dawned on me, like, bro, like, you're friends with the the longest reigning TNA heavyweight champion of all time. That's fucking sick. Like, it's so fucking sick. And I was watching this match and just the fucking counters they were doing, like, it was so... How did you even think of that? Like, it's crazy. Like, the way their brains work, both Josh and Will, and, like, oh, man, everything is so freaking clean, and they don't stop moving, they don't lose intensity. It's the worst when, like, you notice people start to get gassed, and they're like, ugh. Like, it's one thing to be gassed and to, you know, have to take an extra second, but it's another thing to be gassed and just start throwing, like, shit, and, like, lifting like shit and all that sort of stuff. Josh is one of those guys who does not slow down. He is incapable of slowing down. His legs may feel like jelly, but he's not going to stop. And I imagine Will Ospreay is a similar type of human being. That match was so cool. Like, just the counters were absolutely blowing my mind. Hard to beat that one. Let's see. I got Swerve versus Hangman in the cage.
Oh,
Um,
God.
I liked the match a lot,
Okay.
but the fucking storytelling more than anything, what I thought was so freaking good.
Everything leading up the match, even
Yeah, like,
everything.
I'm a big fan of Hangman. I think Hangman is the best thing to come out of AEW. I know MJF is like very high on your list,
All good, man.
but I think MJF is one of those guys who probably would have succeeded no matter where he is. Not that Adam Page wouldn't have succeeded in the WWE, but I think he's somebody that they've properly built up. Like, they haven't really had any missteps. You could argue that when he won the title and lost it fairly quickly, there was a little bit of a misstep. I don't think so. I think it helped develop the character that he's currently doing now in the long run. I think he was like a great babyface, and to see his downfall, but like have the same gimmick, but just flipped on its head, is so freaking interesting. Like a fucking evil cowboy, burning Swerve's house, like that's so freaking cool. And having it as his Tron, like that's diabolical. I love it. Swerve again is like one of those guys who just can fucking go. Like I've never seen him have a bad match.
You know, man, if I'm being honest, I wasn't super, like, I liked both of them and I thought they were good, but like there wasn't anything that really made them like great until their feud, to me.
Yeah, no, I
you
agree.
know, and I'm like, now they're just both elevated.
I think they
so
made each
I'm
other.
so man, I'm so
agree.
invested in both of them now.
I agree.
Like,
my favorite part of that match was when it ended, and the cage went up, and Hangman started to walk up the ramp, and it turned back, as wrestlers do, to take a look, and he took a second, and he started walking back. The fucking audible gasp that came from the crowd, like, and like he stopped and like kind of thought about it for a second, and then he turned back. Like I was like, oh my god, man! Like they fucking have them right here. Like,
yeah.
it's so good. The storytelling is so freaking good. The match itself, pretty good. But like what I really remember is after the match. Me personally, I love death matches. Stick needles in people's faces. I love it.
It's a little messed up, but like
it's super messed up.
Yeah.
I think it's super messed up. It's super gross. It's super disgusting. But in the right time and place, I think it works.
I think that was the right time and place too.
Yeah. Obviously, some of the bumps on like the cinder blocks. Oh, we could probably just do without those, maybe. But
it looked brutal. I think there was like the first match that they did. They had like a gimmick cinder block.
Yeah, I thought
and it like crumbled or something.
I thought it would be a gimmick too.
And like the way they were trying to use it, it didn't work out. So like the next match, they're like, we're using a real one. And like, those spots look. There's no way. Like Swerve's back.
Yeah,
it's never gonna be the same, dude.
Yeah, it was gross.
My God.
But for the love of the game.
Yep.
Let's see here. Okay, so similarly, I got Drew versus CM Punk in the Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I like him to a degree, but I think he's kind of he's a human being. He's got flaws. I think a lot of the issues that he's has potentially been brought on by himself, but who gives a shit? As a wrestler, leaves a little to be desired, but as a storyteller, great. Drew, I think, has leveled up in a way that, like, I didn't really think possible. Like, obviously, when he had won the IC title way back in, like, 2007 or whatever, like, that and this, night and day. But even since he came back, like, he bulked up on the indies, looked like a fucking Viking, came back, did the whole NXT run, was looking really, really good, but just, like, keeps getting better. Just, his work rate just keeps getting better, his promos keep getting better. I don't know if he's getting more jacked. Like he looks like a fucking Greek god. And that match, man, I wanted blood so badly, and like it was just kind of funny because CM Punk took the cage and he gigged and had the little bit of blood and it dried up so quick, and I don't know if they legitimately busted Drew open the hard way or if like it was a really good blade job, but like man, just poof, and then like seeing him like just literally gushing blood. It was nice.
WWE does a better job of like hiding that shit. Something that's like, I really like AEW. I mean, it's not perfect, but like, Something that I say is like weaker on their side is like the amount of times I've seen people blade.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys should be aware of these things
Yes,
like ahead of time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, that match.
that was
just,
a good one.
It was just like a Hell in a Cell. Like I feel like we hadn't had a true Hell in a Cell in so long. And especially after that fucking the Fiend Seth Rollins one. Like that was a fucking travesty. That match sucked. This one was way better. I think it reversed the damage that had been done by that one, and then some. Because like I said, we'd gone so many years without having like blood or like true violence in a Hell in a Cell. I hate that they did the whole Hell in a Cell pay-per-view for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think
it's just too much, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the whole point of gimmick matches is to either extend a feud or to finish it. And typically a Hell in a Cell finishes it. So to have, let's put this world title match in the Hell in a Cell just cuz. Like, there's no reason for them to kill each other, so why would they, right? Whereas this was like this blood feud that had been going on for a good little while. It justified all the violence. It justified the blood. Made it super interesting. And again, I think kind of maybe leveled up Drew a little bit, right? Like, in the same way that Edge and Randy Orton kind of got leveled up by going through that hardcore match.
Yeah.
Drew showing how far he's willing to go. I think, in my brain anyway, kind of leveled him up. What's we got? I have a honorable mention. Stephanie Vaquer versus Mercedes. The only reason...
I don't know if I saw that.
Okay, well, the only reason that I'm even mentioning that one is I've been a Steph Vaquer fan for a while now, and I think she made the Mercedes look like shit. Like, I think she showed how much better she was than her. Not to say that Mercedes sucks. I think Mercedes, for a time, was the best women's wrestler in the world. I think she's fallen off a little bit.
I was going to say. She just recently had, like, her best match in AEW. I think, just recently.
I don't know if it's a matter of, like, less production, like, producers, I mean, helping her out to plan the matches. I don't know if it's the feuds aren't as... she's not as invested in the feuds. I don't know if she's trying new things that she's not totally comfortable with yet. I don't know what it is. I find her best wrestling is when she's, like, really aggressive and really simple. She had a match with Ronda Rousey years ago, and she pulled a fantastic match out of Ronda Rousey. So she's definitely not the shits, but in that particular night, Stephanie Vaquer just totally one-upped her. Everything she did was perfection, and I just love the fact that, like, she... did the one AEW match, or I think she did 2 AEW matches. She refused to drop the belt to Tessa in Mexico, and then next thing you know, she's signed by the WWE. Like, it's just... I love it when wrestlers can win in so many different regards, to show up in both major companies and also to walk out as a champion. Like, it's pretty cool.
Winning.
Yeah, that's my honorable mention for that one. And the last one, I gotta be honest with you, I barely even remember the match, and I'm not the biggest fan of Cody as a wrestler, but I'd probably go Cody Roman. Just I feel like it's been so long in wrestling that we've had such a grand storyline. Do I think that Cody is a significant downgrade from Roman? Yes. But did somebody have to win? Yeah. Somebody has to beat Roman for the belt. And
I feel like they hadn't really been giving the people what they want in regards to, like, that belt for a bit.
Yeah.
Not to, like, disrespect Roman,
Yeah. I think they really had no choice but to put it on Cody because they hadn't really built anybody up. I think Cody did most of the legwork himself. And, like I said, he's got, like, a PhD in wrestling, so he's really good at getting people behind him. I think that whole Hell in a Cell he had with the pec tear.
Oh, ridiculous.
That really got a lot of people on his side.
Yeah.
I think he had, like, a decent amount of doubters when he came back from AEW, but that
was a sweet return, though.
It's just the moment, yeah. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't really remember the match. I don't remember what he did. He probably did the 3 Cody, or what do you do, the 3 crossroads in a row. That's probably how he won. I don't remember, but, like, I remember the moment.
Yeah.
I remember...
the feeling.
I remember the feeling. I remember the ring announcer choking up when she was announcing it. Like, that shit's cool.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, I guess that'd be the one. Right?
Yeah.
I need to watch more wrestling.
All right. I got a couple of the same ones. My number one, Osprey and Danielson. I mean, both Osprey is like also like someone I've like gotten into in like the last like 2-3 years. Like I really wasn't like aware of him.
Yeah.
But you know, who knows, bro? In a year he might be on like on the favorite wrestlers list because he's
really good.
He's good, bro, but he looks like, oh man, he looks so stiff. Like every time I watch him, I'm like, that hurt for sure. Like there's no way, like his whole like, he's just brutal. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then I'm going Strickland Page. That was just, yeah, it was everything that you could have expected. Everything leading up to it was great. The match was great. Like I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know how, and maybe you'll be able to like explain, but like when you know you're gonna take something so painful, like what it seems like I couldn't imagine just knowing that like I'm pretty sure Swerve took a power bomb on that cinder block, like straight on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this guy gonna be walking tomorrow?
I ask myself these questions all the time. I've asked Josh Alexander. I'm like, so how did you get so tough? And it's like, one day it just happens. And I was like, oh.
It was that Sammy Callahan friggin' garbage can incident in the cage
real.
match?
Yeah,
that was
Destiny.
insane, man.
Yeah.
Oh. And then I'm going Osprey MJF.
Nice. Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly. I feel like a couple of these matches have happened more than once. But the Moxley Danielson. Although I'll be real, I think the first time the bag was done, I was like, like it's getting emotion out of people, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right emotion. I don't know. Like, do you think there's like a too far in wrestling? Like there was
there definitely is.
There was the needle in the dick spot.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, you never did? Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on.
I think it was Ryan Cartwright.
Yes, I did
XPW.
know that. I recently had heard about it. I've never seen it, but yes.
Yeah.
That's
like,
too far.
I think it's too far. You know? Are people talking? It gets your name out there, maybe for the wrong reasons. Who knows? But
I think if it's servicing the feud, you can get away with a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just attacking a random guy with a bag, it's like, well, that's the escalation it doesn't make sense.
Right.
In that particular instance, yeah, I think it works. I don't know, like, it's kind of silly, like, if you ask me, to be honest, because, you're a pro athlete, like, I'm sure you can rip a bag, but, is it visceral? Yeah. I think everybody can relate to, the feeling of not being able to breathe or drowning or that kind of.
Yeah, but I feel like it only really looked real for like 10 seconds, and then it was like,
Yeah.
It's like maybe just did it for too long. I don't know.
Maybe.
But regardless, great match. And then also Rhodes versus Reigns. I would put as my number 5. And I think for like a lot of the same reasons that you picked it.
Yeah, we're still in the feeling,
Yeah, yeah. It was nice. Martial arts movies, dude.
All right. This one I have too many to pick. So I'm just gonna. I tried to keep it to pretty much like one. How should I put it? Like martial artist per film.
Okay.
So Rush Hour.
All right. I get it though.
Comedy
I get
martial
it.
arts. Rush Hour is one of my feel-good movies. Like, I can watch it anytime.
Yeah.
Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, even Rush Hour 3 to a degree.
Yeah.
But Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2.
They're good.
Oh
they're
my
good.
god, like, they're perfection. I wouldn't change a thing. Not a thing. I think Jackie Chan is extremely influential in how I wrestle. I think the fact that he will, like, punch someone and then be like, ow. I love that shit. Like, if you hear me while I'm actually wrestling and somebody's like hitting me, I say ow all the time. And it's funny because my opponent will be like, oh shit, sorry. No, idiot. Like, I'm just saying ow because they're hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, I'll headbutt somebody and then I'll, shake my head like, that shit hurt, right? Because that's what Jackie Chan does, and that's what made Jackie Chan special.
I like that.
And I think that kind of helps in the sense that, like, I don't like to be a heel, like a real life heel. I always say that in real life, a heel is, like fucking Hitler or somebody, right? Like, nobody wants to even remotely be watching anything with, like, a real life heel. But a cartoon heel, that we can get behind, right? Like, everybody fucking loves the Grinch.
Yeah.
I'm the Grinch. Not just because I hate Christmas.
Wait, do you?
Honestly, yeah.
Oh shit! We're doing Christmas movies next, dude.
I know.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's gonna fall apart.
All right.
But like, it's just, you can be funny and also evil and dastardly, but like the kids aren't gonna be afraid of you, right? Like the kids are gonna dislike you, but they're gonna like to see you.
They're still gonna, yeah. Well, I want to buy his shirt. You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
yeah.
And also, like, I want the good guy to beat him. Like. So I try to keep that sort of Jackie Chan energy. Anyway, next one, and these are in no order because Rush Hour's one, I think, but everything else is in no order. Ip Man. I don't know if you've seen that. It has Donnie Yen. Ip Man.
IP Man.
IP Man.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know of it. I've never seen it.
It's so sick. It's basically the story of Bruce Lee's Wing Chun teacher.
Okay.
Donnie Yen had been doing sort of smaller roles in like in Shanghai Nights he was the villain. So he'd always do like smaller roles. This was his first kind of like breakout series that he did himself.
Mm.
It's just really cool because Wing Chun as a martial art is really fucking cool. Basically the idea is that you're defending while you're attacking. So like as you're defending this, you're coming in with that. It was designed specifically for women who could move quicker and more dynamically, but lacked strength. So instead of hitting you one time and hoping they knock you out, they hit you a couple times, or a couple dozen times. The movie's pretty cool. It's the first one is kind of about the occupation that the Chinese had in Japan. Oh, sorry, other way around. And they would basically try to break down their spirits by having Chinese martial artists face Japanese martial artists, essentially just to beat them down. Basically to say, like, we're better than you, our culture is better than you, our martial arts are better than you. And basically the story is like how he kind of survives, and he actually wins against 10 other black belts in one of the sickest fight scenes you will ever see. And it culminates with him beating like the general who's a black belt in karate, and he does it for the people. Second one, he fights a boxer who is played by Mike Tyson.
Oh shit! Okay.
And then the third one's just like a fucking cry fest because he goes to America and like everybody, like his wife died of cancer, and it's like the guy's abridged real life. Like obviously he didn't fight Mike Tyson, but it's loosely based on his real life, so it's nice. It's a little tearjerker, and the fucking action's sick. Next one's a little bit more modern. Monkey Man. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I haven't.
It's got Dev Patel. I think it's actually written by Dev Patel as well. People have called it the Indian John Wick.
Okay.
I think that's a little bit of a oversimplification, but it's really fucking good. It's really like gritty. Every you feel every punch. I won't give too much away on that one, but it's also very progressive in its views. Super interesting, and I think it's a breath of fresh air to see an Indian man portrayed as handsome, capable, and tough. I think so often, especially nowadays with kind of the racist sentiment people are having towards Indians, they're just depicted as caricatures, where they're just as capable as the rest of the world and just as fucking awesome as the rest of the world. And it was definitely a breath of fresh air to see somebody portray that. And again, going back to like my students, I have an Indian student who saw that movie and he was like, "Fuck yeah! Like this is so fucking awesome! Like I've never seen an Indian man portrayed this way," and I like that shit a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Next, I got The Raid. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
that
I've
one.
seen that. I've seen
It's
that.
just like 2 hours fight scene. Like it doesn't stop. It's so sick. It's so violent. It's so it's so like real. Like some of the shots, I'm like, how did they do that? Like
Mm.
how did they not kill each other? And I know like the stuntmen really do kind of thwack on each other sometimes, but man, like it's just artistry. It's so freaking good. If I get my wrestling to look even 10% as real as their shit, I would die happy.
And I'm pretty sure Mike Shinoda did the score for
Yes,
that whole
yes,
movie.
he did.
Yeah.
Last one I got, it's another Jackie movie, but it's different little genre. It's The Legend of the Drunken Master.
Oh, yo, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's just so fucking like classic Jackie. Like it's funny. It's the choreography's amazing. The final fight scene is super tough. Like the man takes hot coals. It's just it's one of those movies where you think, how the fuck is Jackie still walking? Like how not only how did he walk after this, but also how is he like 50 years old now or 60 years old now and like still moving and still doing his choreography and still doing some films. Like it's just
I'm
it's
pretty sure he's
unreal.
involved in like the next
Yeah.
Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, he is.
And they're like kind of merging both
blurring
of them.
lines, yeah.
Like, all right, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So yeah, those are top 5.
All right.
I could go on about those, but
Yeah, there's not too many new ones. Enter the Dragon's my number 1. I'll try to do this
Yes.
quick so we can
Yeah,
wrap
no
her
worries.
up. Yeah, I mean, just that was like I've probably seen it maybe like 24 times,
Mhm.
and I don't know. Bruce Lee is just
he's the Godfather.
yeah. Bulletproof Monk.
Classic.
That was Jet Li and Sean William Scott. Filmed in Toronto, I believe, some
Yeah.
of it anyway. Okay, then I'm going to go Shang-Chi. It's my number 4.
Nice.
The thing with that is, like, I went to see that. I was like, I finished work at a certain time, and I had a show, like, 3 hours later, and I was in Toronto, and I was like, there's no point in me coming home. I'm just going to stay in Toronto, and I went to see this movie at just, like, a weird time. And, like, no one was in the theater. It was, like, a weekday, and it was fucking great, bro. It blew my mind. I wasn't expecting much. So I was just going in because I'm like, I love these movies, and I got to follow the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm kind of less about that now because just there's a lot of them that haven't been great. But this one was really good, and I was like, they need to fucking do more. Like, it was perfect mix of, like, martial arts and, like, Marvel. Like, they did it justice.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'm looking at my list, but I'm changing it a little bit. I'm gonna put Equilibrium as my number 4.
I've seen that one.
Have you seen that? See, that's an old one, and Christian Bale is the guy, and it's really they kind of I don't think it's legit anyway, but there was like the style they used in the movie called gun kata. It was like very like Matrix adjacent, I guess. Like it's something like that, but Christian Bale just kills that shit. And then I'm going Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh,
That's gonna be my
I love
number
Kung Fu
5.
Hustle. Yeah, that's a good one.
We'll go Christmas movies. I'll go first,
Okay.
and then you can explain your Christmas situation. Home Alone 1 and 2, dude. Like, I think they're both perfect movies. I think they hold up. My daughter's really into it, which is like, she hasn't even seen the second one. She just fell in love with it from moments, and she calls Old Man Marley Big Boots Man. Like, it's just, I have freaking Harry and Marv on my hands. Like, so that's my number 1 for sure. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, the first one. Even though I watch it now, it doesn't hold up as great. Like, there's a lot of scenes where you can really, like, he'll be on a roof and you can just see the wires fully. Like, they didn't even try. But, like, as a kid, man, Jingle All the Way is my number 3. That's a really fun one. Shouldn't have gotten a sequel, or they should have put Sinbad and Arnold in it. Sinbad also, by the way, I love that guy. He just, like, he's such an underrated performer and comedian, and I don't really think got, like, the love he deserved. But he was a great heel in that movie. A newer one, probably, like, the last couple years, Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2. I felt like I'm very about, like I don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. To each their own. Really. To each their own, but, like, This one is like a newer movie that kind of feels like it was made in like the 90s. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
It's a little corny, you know. And The Night Before is my number 5. That's like a comedy.
Yes, with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, dude. And like they're just buddies, and they always they get together like the night before Christmas, and I think dude ends up like going to like church on acid or some shit. Like there's a bunch of funny stuff.
I remember liking that one. I think I'm
very different, like you know.
Is that
all right? That is 5.
Okay. I really had to think here. Okay, so my number 1 is Jingle All the Way.
All right.
I like Arnold. I like nearly every Arnold movie, even the bad ones.
Even the bad ones, yeah. Do you have a favorite Arnold movie?
Terminator. Terminator 2, I think, is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's a good one. Jingle All the Way, I think, is hilarious. The "put that cookie down now" line sits in the back of my brain pretty much consistently. Jim Carrey Grinch, although I don't think I like it. I just like him. I hate Cindy Lou Who. I hate all the Who's.
Yeah.
I like the Grinch. I like Jim Carrey specifically, but I like the Grinch in general.
Gotcha.
What else do I have? I put Rudolph, which I think means the older Rudolph, like the claymation ones.
Yeah. That's a great one.
I think typically most of the claymation ones, like, they have like a spot in my heart. I don't know if I like them so much as they just remind me of, simpler days.
Yeah, like I haven't watched them in a while, but
Yeah. My friend tried to tell me that Lord of the Rings was a Christmas movie. I know it's not, and I told him it's not. Apparently,
what was the argument though?
Apparently, the Fellowship set out on December 25th.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, but like they're in Middle Earth. Jesus isn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I don't even think. I think Batman Returns is during Christmas. I don't even think that's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
That's a great movie, though, I think.
Yes. I don't think it's a Christmas movie if it takes place in, like, somewhat around Christmas. I think it's got to have some, like, Christmas themes.
Yeah.
At least some more than the Batman movie does and Die Hard.
And it's got to end good. Yo, I dated this chick, like, fucking 10 years ago or so, dude. She's like, you got to watch this movie. It's called Christmas Shoes. And it was, like, her favorite movie.
Yeah.
And at the end, the mom dies. I'm like, what kind of fucking bullshit Christmas movie are you showing? This is not...
Yeah.
Like, what? This is your favorite movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, like, it needs to end. It needs to have a happy ending.
Yeah. No, I get that. I had written down The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I gotta be honest with you, I watched it recently.
Yeah.
I don't fucking like Jack Skellington. He's a dick.
Yeah.
He's a fucking asshole. And, like,
yeah,
I don't think he really learns his lesson by the end. Like, I don't know. I had grown up thinking, like, it was a little cuter. But he's just kind of evil, which I should like. But, like, I don't know. I think it's just missing something. Some sort of warmth in it. I don't know. But we could say Nightmare Before Christmas, maybe.
Right.
Remind me. Does Planes, Trains, and Automobiles have Christmas in it? Because I feel like I remember...
I feel like it does.
I feel like I remember at the end. Like, once
I haven't seen it in so long.
Once Buddy was mean... Oh my god, I don't remember their names. Once the straight guy was very mean to the robust man, and he went home, and then he found out that, he's alone, whatever. I feel like he invited him in for, like, a dinner... Christmas dinner. Maybe it wasn't a Christmas dinner. I don't know. If it's not those, maybe it's the Home Alones. I gotta be honest, I've never really liked them all that much. But the fact that, like, so many people love them, specifically people who I like them, specifically hackers' love for those movies makes me want to like them. You know what I mean? Your tattoos on your hands makes me want to like them. I like those two. I like the antics. I don't know what it is. I hate Kevin.
Okay.
I hate his parents. I hate his shitty family that keeps leaving him places.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Even as a kid, I never really liked kids. and now that I'm older, I still don't like kids all that much. So I have trouble getting behind him. Like, yeah, obviously, defend your home.
Yeah.
And, like, rock on, like, your fucking Jigsaw, and it's awesome. I like that. But it's hard for me to get behind him. I almost want the robbers to win. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
But otherwise, it's a great movie. I'm more of like a Christmas special kind of guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like a SpongeBob Christmas special.
I got you.
Fairly Odd Parents. There was
Fairly Odd Parents.
There was an episode
There
where he
you
wished
go.
for Christmas to be every day, and it was great at first until it wasn't.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Like that kind of stuff. I'm
Right.
not so much into like the full feature films on the Christmas, but I could do a half-hour episode.
All right. I can respect that, dude. We're gonna wrap her up so you can get off to Battle Arts. If you want to let these people know where to get at you, or also even like a match if they're fucking not familiar with your work.
Sure. I mean, you could fucking YouTube me. I'm sure Gabriel Fuerza, Gabriel.
Do you post your own stuff or?
I do. I post some stuff.
Okay.
I mostly post highlights.
Right.
Just because I don't really know what the some people don't like you uploading full matches of theirs, and I don't really want to get in trouble with anybody. And
It's just easier. Not cross any lines, I guess.
yeah. Honestly, like I'm all over IWTV if you're really that interested. Crossbody is free on YouTube. Usually they throw their stuff up on there. I'm sure if you YouTube me, you can find some stuff. If you Google me, you can find some stuff. But all my socials are Fuerza Lives, Fuerza Lives. Yeah, I mean, that's about it, man.
Brother, thank you so much for being here. Guys, like always, this podcast is brought to you by Neon Light District. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 10%. And by The Great North Apparel. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 30%. Want to thank Fuerza for being here again. Go check him out if you're not familiar. This is going to be the last episode probably for a little bit. So you guys have a good holiday, whatever you celebrate. I hope it's a good one. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I am moving. So Pillow Talk will be back in February. You guys have a great rest of the year. Take care. Peace the fuck out.